soccer match.
Hey, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Aurorian Age. Tonight we have myself, Steelheart. We have Mr. Memo. Say hi, Memo.
Welcome, folks.
We have Bear,
Greetings, everyone.
and we have Deuce.
What's up?
Sup? So, anyway, it's nice to be back on the cast after being out of country for a couple weeks. So, thank you, Liette, for letting me do this tonight. I really appreciate it. Liette's producing for us tonight. So anything and everything that goes wrong, we're going to blame her.
Always.
Always.
That's part of being XO.
Absolutely. So anyway, while I was gone, apparently y'all had a major patch.
A little one.
Major patch.
Just a little one, huh? Patch 1.2. Some high notes to that one.
Removal of Nui tiers was one of the big ones right there.
Yeah.
They took,
Yeah.
which changed the way you bought things and got things. Some things changed to Guild of Stars. Some things changed to gold. It really kind of mixed things up for us.
Now, can only get the Guild of Stars Intercontinental now, correct?
Yes and no. They actually added a bunch more quests that give you Guild of Stars throughout the quest line, supposedly, but I would never know because I never leave the farm. So
Yeah, you get a lot. You get a lot through quests. Some of them do one Guild of Stars, some of them are even two. But the quest line going along, especially the story quest, tends to give out lots of Guild of Stars.
Yeah, by the time you reach level 30 in that range, you should have enough Guild of Stars to get you a small house and a ship, which the ships now cost 50 Guild of Stars and the houses are 15.
I wasn't aware of that. I hadn't checked out the prices of the ships yet. I've just been running my quest. General gameplay seems to have stayed the same. A few nuances that there's something off with my cooldowns on the spec I'm playing right now, but other than that, most of the abilities still play the same.
Well, you know, go ahead, Bear.
Well, some of the abilities now where you used to have to hold the button down to do like the triple slash, now you just press the button one time and it's going to go ahead and do all those slashes for you. So it can really throw you off.
I found that out yesterday after holding the button down for 2 days straight. Fail on my point. So everybody, today we're going to go over first some of the things that we've kind of pegged as high points, and then we're going to go over some of the patch notes and talk about them, because I know there's a lot of curious folk out there that may not have been able to get in the game due to vacations like myself, and they want to know about what's changed in ArcheAge. So first topic, removal of Nui tiers. Plus or minus there for y'all?
Well, something like that, I really believe, you know, it benefits large guilds that work together and stuff, because you could literally just run around, go do like shinies, you know, go here, go here, go here, go here, and you could get a big ship literally in a couple hours.
Yeah,
now,
like I did before the patch.
Yes, correct, exactly. You know, so now being able to, with the removal of that and having to do Guild of Stars, and you only get Guild of Stars across the ocean, you know, it actually makes you have to work to get stuff. It seems like they put a big time sink in the game now, trying to slow down the economy and stuff.
You know, I think they did that across the board. I mean, you look at the crafting changes they did, the moving of the Guild of Stars across the ocean. They've really slowed everything down a good bit.
The way labor is used, you use labor for absolutely everything. Everything you do is dependent on labor now, from opening coin purses to identifying quest gear. I mean, every little thing you do is completely dependent on having labor to be able to do it. From gear to planting, harvesting, pretty much anything is requiring labor at this point.
Now, planting doesn't, as long as you're planting within a farm.
Just harvesting.
Now, I did notice, obviously, I was running through some of the quest lines and seeing how the quest lines themselves may have changed or not. And I got to a point where it offered me 3 rewards for completing a quest, but I couldn't see any of the stats on anything. I knew one was a sword, one was a shield, and I think one was a flute. And I'm not sure if I like that change. I think if you're doing a quest and they're asking you to pick 1 of 3 rewards, I would personally like to know what I'm picking. Now, as far as loot I pick up off the ground, I can understand the identifying thing. That harkens back to the old pencil and paper Dungeons and Dragons. But the actual completing the quest and then picking something and not knowing what it is, if the stats even fit what you're doing, I'm not sure I agree with that.
Well, now here's something that they did is when you go to open that quest reward, it has a chance of proccing. It may start off as green. You may get lucky and get a blue. I've gotten purples. We've had a guildie get a yellow. So the stats can really change depending on what you get.
So that's why I'm getting some blue gear here and there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Also costs 10 labor to open your reward now too.
Yeah.
And the coin purses. So I mean, I see down the road maybe, some kind of, labor bottleneck that they may, provide relief for in the store that we have coming in future updates. Not too sure about that, but I kind of feel that coming down the road.
Yeah, I'm hoping not. I'm hoping that the 20 labor generation versus the 20 for the patrons. I'm hoping that's the route they're going to encourage people to pay a monthly fee and be a patron. I don't disagree with you. I can see where it's a major moneymaker if they can sell labor potions. I just hope that's not the case.
Well, now they are going to be on a 22-hour timer as of right now.
Which is a lot better than the Russian Korean version, which run 4-hour timers.
Right.
And it's 500 labor. So, I mean, you can get 500 labor on a 22-hour period. That's not really a huge game changer. When you can get 3,000 labor a day from potions, that's pretty much paying for...
Pay to win.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's hope they don't go that route. Trion's always been pretty up and up with the way they do things. So the last thing I want to see is ArcheAge become a pay-to-win game.
Now, I don't know how many of y'all have noticed, but right now we can't expand our bags or our warehouse spot.
Oh my God. That is just awful. They give you start out with this teeny tiny little bag. Now I guarantee these expand scrolls, that is going to be a shop item. There's no way that's not, because that goes back to, beginning MMOs and RPGs.
Ruins of Magic, wasn't it? Ruins of Magic that you rented bag space.
Yeah. That is one of the easiest ways to get money out of part people from their money, because who doesn't want more bag space? And it does not affect the game at all. So that's totally out of the pay to win area. But every game, almost any game, you've had to, been able to buy bags, or even some of the buy-in packages for, like your adventures packs, your starter packs, your alpha packs. I know I've purchased those in the past just because they came with a ginormous bag.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that we can use our patron points as well, because, those are a big bonus for everybody that's going to subscribe up. You get 5 patron points every day when you log in for the first time. So that's going to be kind of like a commodity in among itself.
You told me that the other day, Bear, that you had to log in out to get those, but I stayed on for 3 days and got those 5 points, just left it logged in, and I got those 5 points every day anyways.
Oh, wow. I didn't, because right now JoJo's got 5 more than I do.
Really?
Yep.
I know I've got them because I went 3 days without logging out, and I got them every day.
Yeah, I've never logged out, so...
Yeah, but y'all have rebooted your computers or gotten booted and come back in, that kind of thing, because that would count for your first login of the day.
Well, I know that I've not done it between the morning and then the next morning when I come on and they're there, so I know that it has.
Well, you're touched.
I'm touched.
Obviously so. This is the man that every single time a game comes out, and I'm like, oh man, that'd be neat to get into. As soon as I'm thinking it, 5 minutes later, I get a phone call. Hey, Steel, guess what alpha or beta I just got?
Yeah, I did get very lucky. I was, been in the early alpha for some good games. That and Grievance tends to have some hookups as well, so I've been blessed there as well.
Yeah, no doubt about that. All right, so moving on. One of the other things, at least we deem as important, and trade pack runs. Obviously, we have intercontinental, which are Guild of Stars and resources needed for crafting, and then we have intracontinental, which is gold. If I'm correct, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. Now these trade pack runs now require a 22-hour wait from turn in. So basically, like last night, we did in intro, we did a gold run. We had about 30-35 people running trade packs, turned them all in, and literally an hour before this cast, my mailbox just lit up like freaking fire. So that'll be interesting. What do y'all
And
feel about the wait on this stuff? I mean, in alpha, we came did our trade pack runs for Guild of Stars and or gold, and immediate, not the gold but the Guild of Stars, and immediately went out and got ships and houses and stuff like that. Minor inconvenience.
Well, it depends on, what we're actually building for and stuff, or how we're doing it. Because sometimes it'd be nice to have it now. But, most of the time it's just prepping for the next item. So the 22 really doesn't hurt us. The biggest thing is we actually, one of the things we tested was you can't gold run to the center island anymore to get extra money.
Yeah, that's what y'all was saying the other night.
So, those big runs for gold don't exist anymore. Everything is within our own continent for gold. But on the other note on that, not only do we have to go for Guild of Stars, but we have to go for materials for crafting for alchemy now. So everything that takes a potion from alchemy, which is armor pretty much, takes a special trade run across the continent to a specific location to get the specific item. So that's going to be a huge thing in our favor, I believe, because of the size of our guild, where it's going to bottleneck the smaller ones.
Yeah, we had a guildie that was on earlier and that was talking about, in games past where, you got special stuff off of loots in a dungeon that might make your armor better. Well, right now, what we're looking at is we're going to do big raids to go across continent to get those items for our crafters. So, I mean, this is really cool. At first, when I heard about it, I was like, "Holy crud!" They just kicked our alchemy crafters right in the hind parts. But now looking at it, because the items are tradable. At first, we were afraid they weren't going to be tradable, but look, they are tradable. It promotes going across the ocean. It's going to promote more gameplay for a lot of folks.
And like Deuce said, it's going to really cater to the organized guilds or clans. And like you, when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, really? Now I started thinking about it, and the absolute best thing I love most about this game is that it doesn't require, but it really strongly encourages you to work as a very large team, and that's something that's been missing from MMOs for a very long time
Very long
outside
time.
of raiding. So I mean, just almost everything you do in this game, besides solo questing here and there, requires you to work with a large group of people. And this is one of them, and I absolutely love it, even if I have to wait 22 hours.
Well, how many games have you actually been in that you can run as a raid to do quests?
Wow.
I
So
can't.
A couple, but I don't even know if I could pull one up by name.
this game does that. You could literally run as a 50-person raid and do your quests if you want to. You can roll in force. You still get quest credit. Everybody gets credit, and so yeah, everything they've done so far is all about gameplay. Big groups.
For groups,
Yep.
groups of any size. I mean, to get to the crafting levels that we're even having our people get at, I hit 20,000, masonry in like 5 to 6 days. You can't do that without a lot of people supporting you. And thanks, by the way, folks that are watching, if you're one of those people. But you can't do that on your own. You can't do that. It's just not possible.
Well, yeah, it's just like me on Gathering. I just broke 30K today on Gathering. If I didn't have like 70 farms at my disposal, there's no way we could do that. And literally, we have 70 farms at our disposal in Omega.
Yeah,
So
that's pretty neat.
another kudos to all the people who donate their farms and stuff. I mean, and it's going to pay benefits in the end because that's going to help all our crafters gain up.
Yeah, and with the changes that they made, I know Deuce and I had a really big shock day one because we rushed and we got a lot of people down there. We planted all of our farms, and then what I did is I went immediately to the merchant and I spent all my money on strawberry seeds, and I
Yep.
started planting
Really?
strawberry seeds.
You
Oh
did the
yeah.
strawberries?
I did it too.
Oh, oh yeah. I was like, man, I'm going to get a head start. We're going to get our people going through these quests, and then all of a sudden I was like, holy smokes, it doesn't take strawberries. I wasted almost all my money. And as soon as I saw Deuce, he was like, plant, plant, plant. I was like, dude, stop, stop. Go sell those seeds back. You don't need them. He's like, I just spent all my money. I was like, well, you just wasted half of it. So,
and
Yeah.
I heard the faction chat was epic about
Oh,
those
man.
strawberries.
No, people were so upset with that.
hey,
I
we
hope
gained
they
a
do it
guild.
again.
I hope
We
they switch it
actually-
up too. That's cool.
To make
We
it worse,
actually,
strawberries are a vegetable.
Yes, yes. So that's
In
kind of
this game.
unusual. But we actually gained a guildie because he planted his farm down there by us, and I saw he was planting strawberries. And I was like, I can't let this guy do this. So I went up to him. I was like, man, I need to let you know strawberries are not for the first trade quest. He's like, no, you're kidding me. I'm like, no, dude, I'm absolutely serious. I was like, don't keep planting your strawberries. You're wasting your money. So he was like, so what's it take now? So I told him, and we looked it up. I helped him pull it up in his list, and he's like, dude, I appreciate it, and he ended up joining the guild. So
Awesome.
that was
Good
pretty
deal.
cool.
Awesome. So y'all had another big surprise in after the patch.
I've had a lot of them. You got to be.
Yeah, you have to be more specific.
And that was in the form of a shared auction house.
Oh, wow, the auction house.
House.
Yeah, I remember coming in and saying, guys, this auction house is cross, and we'd already been, wondering about it. So we started experimenting with it because we'd noticed that some of these other big guilds had stuff that there is no way they could possibly have 2 days into game, 3 days into game. There was just no way. It was undoable. So the auction house being cross server kind of explained that because
Well, and a lot of people were reporting that as a bug. They thought somebody had messed up somewhere. Well, come to find out that it's working as intended because they're going to do server clusters. So there's going to be like 3 or 4 servers that are all going to be on the same cluster.
Kind of
So
like
they'll
battle
all
groups.
Yeah, so we'll all use the same auction house, and that's a really good thing because that's going to prevent us from having, one server that has a stagnant economy and nobody playing there. So this is a really good thing, but boy, was it a big shocker.
Yeah, they need to start at the same time. See, this wouldn't even have been an issue, but you got another server that's been played on that is established, and one that there was no cornering the market for us on anything because there was already an established market. But when everybody starts, all servers come up at the same time, it's not going to be an issue.
Yeah, it'll be way different. Now, I know there's some debate whether beta is going to be shared or not. I don't feel it is, but you're right. Who knows?
I hope not. I hope they actually
do too.
give the beta testers a true chance to experience the game without, them being able to go over to the auction house. But at the same time, because the beta events are only going to last 3 to 5 days at a time, it may be beneficial for them to go to the auction house and buy some of the stuff that they can't get in that short amount of time so they can experience more of the game. So I can see both sides of the coin, but hey, I'm still voting for no shared.
Yeah, and there's
Yeah.
also the. Go ahead, Memo.
See, I don't know. I think I would almost rather have it shared at that point because you're really not going to get a taste of what's available and what can be done without it. The only problem with it shared is the transfer of assets. That's an issue from alpha to beta, and I would hate to see that. So I would have to go with not sharing it either.
Yeah, just because of the fact I don't want to see a boat, a whole fleet of ships on the water in like an hour within the game because people transferred it in from their alpha accounts to their beta accounts.
Or somebody putting up a castle within the the first 3 hours, like happened on Omega. So
That's true.
Yep.
Too. It really skews the power and doesn't let people, feel the actual power as you progress through.
I mean, which in this case is fine because is people who were on the alpha server anyway.
Yeah,
You
but the
know,
beta people are brand new, so hopefully
right,
they'll have their own server, their own auction house.
right. Now, what do y'all think? You think they're going to end up doing a different server for beta, or kind of like us getting merged in with the friends and family? You think eventually they're going to either right off the bat or eventually merge all the beta into the alpha?
I don't think so. I think the alpha will go on like they've said from the beginning to be the test server, and the beta will do what betas do.
Well, I think our biggest clue on that is them saying that for the first event, they're not going to take the alpha and omega servers down. And if they get enough participation on the beta server, then they will allow those to keep playing. But if they don't, they are going to turn off alpha and omega during the beta events. So that right there kind of leans me towards there's definitely going to be more than, one server. Beta's going to have their own group. Now they
Good.
could have multiple servers. Now that wouldn't surprise me to see beta come up with like 3 servers.
Yeah, curious how many. I mean, and of course Tryon knows, but curious how many people are waiting for beta versus alpha. Because I know we've seen in our team speak people hanging around the channel saying, "I'm waiting for beta, I'm waiting for beta," and then 3 or 4 days later, oh hello,
I couldn't
jump
wait
in
anymore.
alpha with us.
They got alpha
Yeah.
with us because they couldn't wait.
Yeah.
We have pulled quite a few people in by just them coming into channel and listening to us, because we are really dominating this game as a guild.
That's a good point, Memo, when you bring that up. And it's funny, and I noticed it really a lot in Omega. Not so much in Alpha because we trickled into Alpha, but in Omega because we came over in Force and stuff, we are setting the tone for a lot of things on the Omega server. People are queuing off of what we're doing.
Yeah, yeah, it's really noticeable. It's all right. So moving on. So let's see, addition or adjustment of stolen pack split from 40% turn in value return to creator down to 20% return to creator. Now I know in alpha we had some issues with people trying to intercept our trade packs. Do you think this is going to discourage them a little bit?
No.
No.
People that want to be asshats will continue to be asshats. That's just kind of the way it is.
Now, we had a guildie say that this is actually really good for the pirates, not just for the people that are losing something and getting 20%, because the pirates want those other folks to still get money so they can make another trade pack, bring it out there so they can steal it again.
That's a good point.
I believe that was Arthrodon that said that. And once he said it, I was like, man, that makes so much sense. I understand that. But no, I'm glad they're not going to leave it 60-40. That's still just a little bit too big. Kick it back down to 80-20, and I think that'd be much, much better.
Good. Now, they also removed the arrest powers on the bounty hunter cloak, the judgment abilities.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Because people were abusing it, and we had a few guilds out there that loved to go purple, and so they would use their bounty hunter cloak, and 5 of them would report our people out on a ship, and then they could arrest them, which is used as intended. So they removed
No.
it.
Oh, we had groups of people on the alpha server that would find anybody that they didn't like, and it only took 5 people to click that thing up, and then whoop, they'd be carted off to jail or killed or whatever. But I tell you the reason that I'm really glad that it's gone, because it takes those 2 extra buttons off my screen that would screw up my flight pattern with my glider, man. I don't know how many times I'd accidentally plunge into the ocean or whatever.
Those 2 buttons were too many, weren't they? You had enough buttons, your buttons were laid out, but when you had that cloak on. So do you still get the cloak, or do you just not get the cloak at all anymore?
The cloak is still in game on Alpha. I know they didn't remove the cloak; they just removed the abilities off the cloak.
Okay.
So it's still, I believe, +7 to all stats.
Yeah, I mean it's good for that.
And it's actually pretty easy to get. So
no, you gotta do the trial quests, and then you have to do the 5 trials.
And not get infamy. You gotta stay below 50 infamy. So
Oh yeah, which isn't too bad unless you're Deuce and you're like, leaving footprints all over the farm. And
Hey,
you know how hard it's been not to click on those footprints? I was like, oh, I
somebody
gotta click 'em,
planted
gotta
off
click
the
'em.
farms.
I would have had to click on them anyways. I mean, it's almost like a shiny. You can't resist. Click, click, click.
Hey, they're down there. Go ahead. You can go click them. That's
Hey,
fine.
my footprints have been there all day long. I gotta give props to the guildies for not reporting.
Well, we're live, so
Yep, there they
Yeah,
go.
you might get some
you may
love
get
there.
back and get a little bit of love there, brother.
I'll probably have a few infamy afterwards, but yeah, somebody planted off the farm in between two of our farms, and I picked them up.
Oh, Stunner said, oh, that's whose footprints I was clicking.
Thanks, Stunner. Love you too, man.
Nice.
So there were a bunch of class changes, and I don't follow them too much unless it has to do with mine, just because it doesn't matter what I try to play.
Same.
I always go back to tanking. But one of the class changes, I haven't really heard what they changed, but I have heard almost everybody drop Songcraft.
Yeah, it got hit pretty hard. Not one I use. I know that they took the healing song out of it. I think. I'm not real familiar with that one. Deuce.
I don't know.
I've never played Songcraft. The biggest thing on the trees, me, besides playing EIEIO, I mean, I've noticed that they put in the level 55 trees. Okay. So
Yeah.
you can see the skill tree, so including the passive, you can get the new passive and everything for the 55 tree, but you can't get the 55 skill because our cap is still 50. But they shifted skills all around and stuff. Like they finally put endless arrows into archery, which makes total sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things I know that affects my class is they changed the healing skills from intelligence to spirit, and I noticed there's still some gear in the game that's geared towards intel as opposed to spirit that before was healing gear and is now not. Like the Dew Stone quest line you can do and get that gear, it all has intel on it and no spirit. So that's kind of one of the changes that affected healing, at least.
I was pulling up the Songcraft list over here, and I'll read some of the changes. Now, all this is going to be great to me, so if you know anything about it, just chime in. But added an active skill, Grief's Cadence, passive skills, Discipline Performance, Allegretto or Allegro. Decreased base cooldown for performance skills, decreased base range for skills, remove critical discord. There's a whole list of them. It's pretty big. Um, but but I know when I was talking to Caitlin and she said she wasn't going to do it anymore, um, they must have done something pretty hardcore to it.
Oh,
Well,
so
one of the things is they reduced the speed for one of their abilities. One of the movement speeds used to be like 50%. Now they knocked it down to 30%. And, when you was doing big trade packs run, the radius was, so big and they kind of shrunk the radius down. So really the only time that I use Songcraft now was especially when we ran our first trade pack run. I ran over there, I took Witchcraft off, and I stuck Songcraft in there so we could make it just a little bit faster.
another big change to the skills is a lot of them don't skill up now. It's become more gear dependent. So, like Fireball, for example, used to skill up to like level 14 or something when you were level 50. It stays level 1 the whole time now.
Really?
Yep.
Wonder why that is.
They made it more gear dependent because it has a set damage, and then it's plus like 350% magic damage. So
Right
the
on.
more magic damage you have on your gear, the bigger it's going to hit.
Now, combat skills weren't the only things that got added to Nerf and expanded. Fishing, forgive the pun, got pretty well gutted.
Holy smokes, you're not kidding, man. I mean, we saw fishing go from a hero to, I'm not going to say a zero, maybe it's like a +1, +2 now. But I mean, fishing was definitely a moneymaker before the patch. But and I'm kind of glad to see they scaled it back some. And I have heard that they've been tweaking the numbers some, because when 1.2 first came out, some of the sports fish were only selling for like 35 gold, and you've got to have a fishing boat to get out there and get those things. So I have heard that those numbers have increased. They're getting fish that are selling for like 150 now, but they got rid of the waterlogged boxes and the waterlogged bags. So those are gone from the regular worm fishing. So they've really scaled it back some. I mean, it's almost more like a pastime skill now than a definitive crafting skill or moneymaker.
Yeah, and to be honest, it probably needed to be reduced a little bit
Yeah.
here and there.
Yeah, you could literally break an economy on a good fishing day. I mean,
Well,
there was fish that sold for over 1,000 gold for one fish.
Wow.
yeah. And then look at the worms. I mean, worms are something that you pick up off the ground with a seed pack, and those things were making people tons and tons and tons of money. And well, now, folks, now when you get ready to get your farmer's workstation after you travel across the ocean, and you finally get some alchemist to make your potion. You throw your farmer's workstation up. Well, now you got to have a minimum of 15,000 skill in one of the gathering resources before you can make your first seed pack.
Yeah, that one hurt. That one broke my heart. Because when you're planning 70 plus farms and you have to plant every single seed, it is very tedious.
That is awesome, man.
You didn't have to do it all by yourself.
I was listening to you. It wasn't by yourself, because I was listening to Deborah the other night. God bless her.
I'll tell you, JoJo, Deborah, Dorian, Light, Knight, Draz, Salen, all these people, and there's much, much more that have made it so I didn't just want to commit suicide, because literally there is no way I would have been able to survive till I could make seed packs without them helping me plant. And literally, like, as I was picking up, JoJo was dropping seeds right behind me, telling me to hurry up.
Yeah, if he stopped too quick, JoJo would have been whoop, right up somewhere. It's funny. I think she can plant faster than people can pick up, but we do, man. We've got a great group of people that have down there and have been busting hump on that farm. It is awesome to see everything that they've done.
Well, once again, like I was saying, you say it needs 15,000 gathering skill. Well, once again, it benefits being in a large group that you can do that with all the farms, because there are going to be little 5-6 person guilds or just groups of friends or whatever that come into this game, and they're not going to be able to achieve that for a while.
Yeah.
Well, especially with stuff like there is, they're not called seed packs, but lumber logging now has seed packs.
Yeah, yeah. Tree pens. We got animal pens now for all the different animals, and so everybody kind of got some love when it comes to that thing. But just like with the gathering and the farming, your husbandry's got to hit 15,000. Your loggers have got to hit 15,000, and that's just for the first ones. I mean, it goes all the way up to, what does it take?
60,000.
60?
60 is my highest pack.
So 60,000 before you get your full list of packs you can put down. So. Oh, and don't forget about that sunflower that Max put down. You need to talk about that too. That thing was
okay. So yeah, each of the four farmer abilities, which is gathering, farming, logging, and husbandry, have a specialty item you can use at level 50, and you plant it. Well, so Mag hit 50. He's like, "Hey, can you make me one of these?" I said, "I already made one. I just can't plant it." He's like, "Oh, I'll put it down for you." So he puts it down. It's a big sunflower. It takes like 1/4 of a large farm.
Wow.
And it was like 4.5 hour grow time, and I procced the first one, and so it's massive, and it's got
10 foot tall.
It's got a first prize ribbon on it and stuff. And when he harvested that, he got 102,000 XP.
Oh,
wow.
He said the ones that don't proc are worth 20,000 XP. That's why you can't. So it's like the way to level up your alternate abilities after you hit 50.
Now, can only the person who planted harvest it?
No, but you have to be level 50.
Yes, you have to be 50 to plant.
Harvest.
You have to be 50 to harvest.
Yeah.
And to plant, you have to be 50.
Yeah, let's say you're ready to dump Shadowcraft and you want to pick up something else. You can plant those trees, and those skills are just going to go through the roof really quick.
Nice. Nice.
So that's a really cool thing that they did there, and it's really neat to see it. I've never seen a 10-foot tall sunflower seed before. So
That thing, yeah, that
That's
was.
that's probably something we'll see on the in-game store before it's all over.
A 10-foot tall sunflower. Okay.
They've already talked about having, how you grow your mounts and stuff. Well, on the store for the loyalty points, they're going to give you as vanity pets the little ungrowable foals and stuff. They're just going to
And,
follow you around.
and somebody will eat that up too. I know
Yeah, they will. Not my
Nionia
thing,
plays
but
Wildstar. She'd absolutely eat that alive. Absolutely.
Because they're cute and cuddly.
You can't do anything with them.
And you
yeah,
can't.
not my thing. I understand people love that, but I've never seen the need.
It's non-combat. You can't have another pet out or a mount out while it's out. Yeah, it's like.
Memo would much rather have a space plant that blooms once every 100. Oh wait, sorry, wrong game.
Wrong game, and I thought that was ridiculous too, man. But wrong game. I'm like, really? Thanks for the reward.
Oh well,
Different
sorry
show.
about that.
Now I haven't seen I seem to recall having a pet by level 25. What
They
happened
took
to
them
him?
out. They took them out. All those
No.
5-level rewards are gone.
You still have the wolf. You just have to go get it in the quest line
Right.
at 25.
So
wolf's
there
still
are
there.
still pets in the game.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
wolf
you-
is there still. The fox is not in. The fox
You're not
you got
gonna
at
get-
15.
You're not
your
going to get
free
those
glider,
super
nothing.
weapons. The level 20, they gave you that bag that was full of all those, epic purple weapons that, I used till like I was 45.
I used it
Oh.
till I was 24 because I got my crafted sword and it blew it out of the water.
Yeah, well, see, my crafted stuff then didn't beat that weapon. I mean, it was literally like level 45 before my crafted stuff was better. But I'm glad to see that's gone. I understand why they did it, but hey, I'm glad to see it's gone. Hey, what do y'all think about the Luna gems that they added that can be socketed to the weapons and armor?
That is really cool. I like that.
Yes.
It's just
Being
another
able to
way to
socket
customize
stuff.
your gear.
Yep.
Absolutely.
There's
I'm all for
actually a
that.
regrade too. You can regrade stats on your equipment.
Hey,
Now,
they
how
made
does-
machinery worth doing now.
Yep.
Now, how
And
does
handicraft.
that work with the regrading?
I did it once and don't even remember how I did it.
I haven't got to
There's-
do any of it yet. I haven't had any gear that I even figured was worth it.
I was.
There's
just playing.
a salvage forge in Marianople that you can go to, and you can salvage the armor. So, like, if you get a level 44 piece that's the wrong one, because this is really what it pertains to, is when you're crafting items. So for what is it? Leather, you got to have Typhoon, and when you craft your level 44 piece, if it's not a Typhoon piece, then it's not upgradable. So now what you can do is you can take it to the salvage forge, you salvage it, and then you can get a machinist to reforge it for you and make it into something that will be able to be used again.
But it takes 3 of them.
Takes 3. And the big question that we haven't been able to answer yet is, let's say you've got 2 yellow pieces and 1 green piece. And when you break those down, how do those break down into yellows and greens or purples, or just we don't know what it does?
Everything I've seen so far, because I've actually broken a few pieces down. When I broke a blue down, it was a green regrade. When I broke a purple down, it was a green regrade.
Yeah, that's
So-
kind of what a lot of us are afraid of, because some of the stuff that we've been doing, the way our armor smiths and do stuff, was we try for perfect procs. You craft something, if it doesn't proc, you don't use that one no more. You set it to the side. So now that kind of skews that whole plan up, because if you do perfect procs, you get to 44 and it ain't the right thing, you regrade it, and now your yellow or orange just turned into a green.
Oh,
Also, there is no white gear crafted anymore. Everything
Exactly.
starts as green.
Nice.
I'm all for that. I never understood the white gear crafted thing.
Yeah, why make, a white crafted item? That kind of defeats the purpose.
Oh,
Pretty much.
speaking of crafting, though, one of the things that I was really stoked to see was that whole 1,000 stack bonus. Not bonus,
yeah.
but you can stack up to 1,000 with your raw resources. Holy
That's
smoke.
nice. That's real
Unless
nice.
you're
Unless
a
you're Memo.
mason, and and someone sends you 5,000 stone in nice 5-pack bundles, and you got to send back those in 100 stacks. Now that gets kind of, without our expand scroll to make the bag space any bigger, that gets kind of, you run out of space very quickly.
Well, we'll stop sending you those mails full of 5,000 stone if you
No,
want.
please do not stop sending me those. I hit 20,000 and it's been a dry couple days. I'd like to see what 30's like. 40,
Well,
50, 60.
you know, what's funny was I actually thought they put in the shift right click thing with 1.2. I had somebody tell me, "Oh, that's been in the whole time." I'm like,
You didn't know that?
no,
Really?
I did. I've been
Oh.
click, 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 and I'll
Oh,
tell
yeah.
you, especially since it's because I can put like 3,000 shotgun knives in my thing and process my whole bag full of mushrooms for bear, for example. I think I processed 12,000 mushrooms at one time or something crazy like that.
Well, I'll tell you something else that you've all seen, and I guess it's just kind of slipped our mind. But mobs no longer drop anything other than coin purses.
Well, no, I heard some on the northern continent still will rarely drop some armor here and there. They were talking about that in TeamSpeak this
I'm
morning.
pretty sure I've pulled
Armor.
a sword off of something.
Well, let me rephrase
Right.
that. It won't drop. They don't drop any money. You can't get pelts from any of the beasts or mobs like that anymore. So our leather workers only get their stuff off the farm. So now you get
Really?
these coin. Really?
There's no
So
wild leather anymore that you can get off harvesting those animals?
no.
Wow.
Ah,
But
that. Go ahead. Go
but
ahead.
the coin purses now seem to drop with almost like every other kill.
Well, yeah, you got to spend labor to open them. So, I mean, I'll go through a whole field and you'll look in your inventory and you'll have 30 coin purses. And you're like, well, I can only open 5 of those because I'm out of labor now.
Yeah, but you see, I like that. It's like getting Christmas every day, man.
Yeah, I like the coin purses. I don't like spending the labor on opening them. Is the only problem. I
What's
can,
these coin purses you guys are talking about?
they
Get
come
off the
through
farm.
killing mobs,
Go back to your
which
farm,
you
man.
wouldn't know anything about.
Oh
There's not
man.
many
You and your
mobs in the
2 liter bottle
protected
of
farm
Coke.
area over there.
No.
But now when you open those coin purses, it does increase your larceny skill now.
Yeah, larceny is now a valid skill because supposedly the larceny skill raises, your loot raises, not money wise, but you get a chance to get like crystals and stuff out of the thing. Meg, because he made 50, was playing with the big. There's actually purses higher than jesters now, by the way.
Hmm.
But he said he's gotten 3 crystals out of those new bags
Huh.
because he has over 6,000 larceny.
Sweet.
Well, my larceny hit about 1,000. Now this is just from opening bags. I'm not running around jacking people's stuff, but it hit about
Nice.
1,000, and I've started seeing Luna drops come out of it, and I've started seeing dust come out of it. So I was really glad to see that
Yeah.
because dust is a big it's a choke point for a lot of guilds.
It's a choke point for everybody. I mean, the whole armor, weapon, everything relies on different kinds of crystals down to, the dust.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, change the topic. We also discovered that, and it was in the patch notes, of course, but Scarecrow Garden Quest is now available at level 10.
That's right. Yeah. We had kind of had a plan to get folks over there, and all of a sudden we was like, oh, it takes level 10. We saw those patch notes, and we kind of had to rethink our plan a little bit and stuff. But yeah, it takes level 10 to get there, and then when you do the quest, you get all the tax certificates that you need to plant it. And tax certificates, are what you pay your taxes with now. It no longer takes any gold at all. So you get your tax certificates from spending labor. You can buy them with your patron points, or you can buy them right off the marketplace. But at least you don't have to pay gold anymore.
Yeah.
Now,
So
go ahead.
you obviously haven't set. Well, I set my first farm up the other day since I've been back. Now, these tax certificates, you create them.
Yes.
You
What's
walk
it
up
take?
to a
What's it
farm,
take to make a tax certificate?
You walk up to any farm. Doesn't even have to be owned by you or a guild farm or anything like that. You just walk up to any farm, and I believe it's the G function on it, and you
Click on
get
the
five.
scarecrow.
You get 5 tax certificates for 200 labor.
Yep.
Oh, another thing that costs labor.
Yep.
Everything costs labor. If you're going to do it and get any benefit from it, it's going to take labor. But we still don't even really know how the tax system's going to work because apparently it's been broken since Omega launched with the release of the tax certificates. So, we've been getting our taxes for free. So we really don't know how that's going to work, do we?
Well, some of us actually got the mail, like when you first place it down.
I did too. Wouldn't let
You
me
know,
open
so-
it though.
Yeah. Well, I got to open mine one time, and it told me that I was going to have to pay 10 tax certificates for that week's rent. So, what you're going to do is instead of sending in that gold, that you normally did every week, is you're
Give me
actually going to send in
400
your
labor.
tax certificates. So,
Yeah, which are labor basically.
Yeah.
5 for 200, so that'd be 400 labor.
well, think about some of our folks that had, the medium-sized house. They had a large farm down. They had,
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
yeah, that could get really expensive.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
just
yeah.
sitting here thinking, you could easily be spending 5,000 a week on tax certificates.
Especially in the beginning when you don't get the 5,000 labor. It's it spans
Yeah.
the account. It's not just what server you're on, and we already knew the character you're on. It's account wide. So I mean, we start off with what was it, like 1,300? Is that what you start off with?
No, you started 1,000.
Yeah, right at
1,000.
1,000.
So if you have a couple properties, there's 800 labor. Or if there's an increase on the dual properties, there's that's almost all your labor. So what can you do with that property? It's basically doing nothing but sitting. And then
Unless you
can't
have a
open
large
coin-
guild.
And then you
Yeah.
can't open coin purses, and you can't do a craft, and
And tax
Uh,
certificates are not tradable.
no,
No,
they're
they're not.
not. Because
So
people be putting those up on the auction house and making bank off of them because people wouldn't want to spend labor.
Yeah, no doubt.
But now the ones that you buy off the marketplace are going to be tradable.
You'll be able to buy them off the marketplace.
You'll be able to buy them off the
Loyalty.
marketplace and sell them on the regular auction house.
Well, I can see a
So-
lot of people taking advantage of that because that's
heck
gonna put you, especially in the beginning, that's going to put you extremely tight with labor.
Well, and that brought up another topic that's been discussed on the forums, on the ArcheAge forums. Originally they said only patrons were going to be able to put down property. Well, now they're saying that free-to-play players may be able to place property down because they'll be able to buy their tax certificates with real-life money. And now we could actually have, farms of free players out there that they've paid for those farms with real money.
But here's the thing. Is it going to be cheaper for them to buy their tax certificates every week, or would it be cheaper to be a patron?
Well, look at it this way, Deuce. Let's say you're a really good player, which we know you're not because all you do is farm. But anyway, if you found a way to make money in the game as a free-to-play player and you had enough money to actually buy those tax certificates off of the auction house with money that you've made in game, now you're paying for your farm for free. It doesn't cost you any labor.
Yeah, with
So-
them being sellable that way. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. So, they've talked about that a lot, with their account, the other monetary system that they're bringing in. And so what's it? Flex? No, it's not Flex. That's the other game.
Flex, Dex.
I think it's
something.
Plex. Yeah. So you're going to actually be able to pay for your patron status with that, and that's going to be something that can be bought and sold on the auction house. So, I think it'd be better off if they went ahead and did that and paid for their patron status, because then you get, 5,000 labor max instead of 2,000 labor max. But
Did
hey,
they
well-
raise it to 2? Because it was 1.
yeah, they raised it to 2. Non-patrons get 2,000 labor.
Well,
That's-
it's going to be hard enough for a free-to-play player to find a place to place a farm by the time they get into the game as it is.
Yep.
Being
Yeah.
4 days later than the rest of us, yeah.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we saw how quick these farms filled up in Omega, and that's with only part of the alpha server going over there. So I can't imagine being a free to play player and going in 4
JoJo?
days after everybody else.
JoJo says bye, everybody. She's off to work.
Bye, Joe.
I do.
Yeah, I mean, you look what Grievance was able to accomplish within, I would say the first 6 hours of the game. Now, that's not including the downtime, the little cut we had in there, but within
Yeah.
the first 6 hours, we was able to put a very large footprint down. So, I mean, and that's with just our Omega players. I cannot wait to see what happens in beta and
Oh my
launch.
lord! We're gonna launch this daggone game with between 300 and 500 players.
I
All I
can't.
got to say is lots of alcohol going to be needed.
Yeah, lots of coffee. What you talking about? um,
Yeah.
so we're approaching. We could go on talking about patch 1.2 for
Yeah, for
hours
hours.
on end, and you know, so we're approaching our yeah. Mag says there's going to be plenty of room up north. Only for a short amount of time, but yeah, they can send the free to play players up there, I guess.
Yeah.
Parting thoughts, Bear.
I'm really excited with 1.2. I was hesitant at first, but overall, 1.2 has been a great addition to the game, and I'm really looking forward to 1.7. I've seen some of the stuff they're doing there. I know we'll cover that next, but or in a later stage. But man, I'm really excited to see where this game's going.
Awesome, Deuce.
Well, the way I equate 1.2 is with other games, to be a dominating raiding guild in the other games, you have to gear up, you have to take your time, then you have to grind through the bosses. You know, Crafting has now become that way. You must grind up your skill, work on your stuff, go across, farm your stuff. So yeah, it's an equivalent to other games now in that fact where crafting, while it still gives us the best gear, you got to work hard for it now. It's not as easy to get,
You
which
know
makes it more
that's
viable.
that's also going to put the solid PvP guilds that don't have crafters at a disadvantage.
Yep.
It really is. In this game, you're going to have to be a very well-rounded guild into everything. Anyway, Memo, parting thoughts?
I'm with Bear on this. I liked, how we hit Omega running, and we pretty much made a huge footprint coming in. And I'm excited for live. Beta's coming up. I'm going to be into that, but I'm excited for live because I know we're going to launch with a big force, and whatever server we land on is going to be Grievance's server.
Absolutely. And it goes back to what I said at the beginning of the show. Like y'all, when I read some of these patch notes, I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. But overall, it promotes guild play. In any game that promotes guild play as much as this one does is a win in my book. Because for the last 3 to 5 years, we've just haven't had this type of guild play outside of raiding. So my parting thought would be, absolutely keep on doing what you're doing. My other parting thought would be, once again, invite anybody from Tryon XL Games. Come on our cast. We'd love to ask some questions, open it up to our viewers. They could ask you questions. So hopefully we can get that one day. So this has been Steelheart. Y'all have a great night.
Have a
Hey,
good one.
folks.
Deuces.